What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back to the Tuffy Talk live show, y'all. We're so excited to be here, sitting here with a nice dub. You know, not the prettiest of dubs, but hey, listen. On defensive side, it was gorgeous. On the offensive side, you know, it was manageable, but definitely not what we have expected so far this season for sure. But either way, y'all, we got 1-0 on the week, and we're now focusing our attention on the Demon Deacons coming to town here this Saturday at noon once again. 3 straight home games at noon, which is definitely not ideal, but hey, listen, it is what it is. Just got to go to week 1-0 and then move on to Syracuse. So Greg, so with the underline saying can't go 10-2 without going 4-2 first, and you're 100% right there, Greg. So focusing one game at a time. But anyway, and then what's the shirt say, Greg?
Oh, it's an old school. It's dear old NC State. Go Pack. It's like from like the late 60s. So
I think Greg was about 40 when that was all happening. Yeah,
that's an accurate statement, sir. Thank you for showing up tonight.
That's right. Yep. Obviously, Macon.
Where are you at, Macon? Yeah.
Yeah, he's not the normal setup that you.
Yeah, I am in. If anyone wants to come and find me, I'm in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah, I know, but it's all right.
Fun.
Could be worse. I could be in Chapel Hill. So, yeah.
Ooh, yes, that would be much worse for sure.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. But anyway, Wolfpack Nation, again, any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to put them in the chat, and we will get to all of them here today. But with that being said, let's jump into it here first. Obviously, 24-17 win for NC State over NIU this past weekend. The headline of it being 2 things. One, obviously, Coach Doran getting a interesting win for himself, obviously coming from NIU and being the first time he's ever faced his former team. But then also, too, as well, with the NC State offense only getting 175 yards of total offense.
I think it was less than that. Was it 171?
171, 173, something like that. But
I was under 200 yards, right?
Under 180. I do know that for a fact. It was in the 170s. So, yeah, definitely not the prettiest of wins. But I mean, listen, the positive of it is, let's jump right into it. I mean, the first big positive is didn't turn over the football, which is great. Definitely, love to see that, especially with a freshman quarterback at the helm. That no interceptions, even though there was 1 or 2 that probably should have gotten intercepted for sure. And we'll bring out the PFF grades to see how many turnover worthy throws that PFF gave him. But then listen, 0 turnovers is 0 turnovers. So definitely didn't shoot ourselves in the foot there. Now the negative, the penalty side is, we got 6 really terrible timed penalties, mostly on the offensive side. A few holdings that brought back a couple of pretty big runs, specifically from Jordan Waters. So, eight rushes for Jordan Waters for 23 yards. You say, man, that's not that good. But, I mean, he definitely looked more comfortable. He definitely looked the most comfortable he has this entire season. So that's kind of the initial kind of negatives, positives that I kind of have from my side. So, making while you look at whatever you are looking up, Greg, any initial thoughts on anything I mentioned or anything else you would like to go ahead and throw in as a positive or negative from the NIU game?
Yeah, I just thought the defensive line played probably their best game of the season. I
Sure.
don't even think that's even probably a question.
No.
Davin Van, like most people have said, it probably career day for him.
Yep, completely agree.
I think the team had 4 sacks yesterday or Saturday. So
yeah, I think we only had 4 going. I was going to say we only had 4 going into the game.
Yeah.
Right, and I think just to kind of shout out, we were harsh on the team last week, but truthfully, we're speaking what everybody else is thinking. So, I think this week we can make sure we give credit where credit's due on the defense. Right, they were much better. This is their best defensive performance of the year, and props to them, right? And props to the coaching staff and the players and everybody involved. State had. I'm looking at PFF. It was not surprising, their best overall defensive performance, grading wise of the season. And really in a few different categories, they had their best ratings of the year in tackling and in coverage. They also were second best on the season for rush defense. So really good. I think there's some areas they were second best on the year for pass rush, but their pass rushing scores have been low generally over the season. But yeah, I think the props should be, as hard as we were being on them about how they were playing the last few games. This game, they showed up and they played to some degree what State fans expect from an NC State defense. So really proud of those guys. Just need them to carry that same level of play forward. And really build on it.
Yeah. And just one clarification that we actually had 5 sacks per PFF
5
as well.
sacks, okay.
So even one more better. But yeah, go ahead, Greg.
No, I was just going to say, for a team that had 4 turnovers, they could have easily generated 6 or 7. We dropped at least 1 interception, maybe 2, I think. And then they had a couple of fumbles where they were able to get them back. This game could have gotten really out of hand really fast had we gotten some of those turnovers, because I think it was Kaufman that dropped the interception early. Like, he would have probably, if he didn't take it back to the house, it would have set us up probably inside the 20-25 yard line.
It would have been back-to-back weekends with a pick up for him. And that guy, by the way, is probably one of the best transfer pickups we've had this offseason. He's playing really well. But yeah, I'm really excited about what the defense did. Yeah, I don't know where you want to go from here, Leighton, but they deserve some props this week. So
a lot of game balls to be given up.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I mean, just to get to a couple comments here real quick. Cards saying defense came in on fire on Saturday, and yeah, it definitely seemed to be like a kind of a little bit of a get right game after getting just their teeth kicked in against Clemson. 28 points in the first quarter, obviously being the highlight, and really just came into this game really trying to get things right a little bit and get back on the good side. So yeah, definitely love to see that. And Andy, kind of building off of what I was saying a little bit earlier about the holding penalties killing us, saying Waters had 3 different carries for 24 yards that were called back for holding halfway through the second quarter. So a couple of very explosive plays that would have been huge that killed us. But obviously Coach Doran, kind of said it best, today in his press conference, where he said, that the referee crew was definitely calling a few ticky-tack holding calls that he didn't feel were overly egregious for anything like that. So, but it's the saying is there's a holding on every play, but it's just, is it going to get called or not? So that's not really something I'm really going to lose one bit of sleep over, because come this game against Wake Forest, and they might not, and that referee crew might not call any holding penalties. It's just kind of it's just up for it's up for interpretation for every single different refereeing crew. But Greg, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, whatever they're calling, you just hope that they're consistent, which it
Yes.
it seemed
Exactly.
like they were. And because I'm
Mhm.
looking here at the penalties, it was 6 for 56 for NIU, and we had 6 for 46. So
Yeah.
it's pretty evenly called in that regard. So I don't really have complaints with that. Coach Dorn said when he was looking at some of the film, it looked like the two of them that they called holdings on looked like they were clean pancake blocks. So
Mhm.
he probably
Yeah.
knows better than I do.
Mhm. Yep.
I'm just looking here, man. It's just I talk about the offense too. We'll get to. I mean, but like we were 1 for 11 on third down.
It was bad.
That's terrible. They were 7 for 17 for comparison. We had 63 rushing yards. They're 124. They had twice as many rushing yards
But
on our field.
But I will say on that 1 of 11 on the third downs, you have to take into consideration some of those were penalty induced, and you weren't gonna have a shot at it. You know, there was
Sure.
multiple.
Which is still not
ones.
good for state, right?
No, you can't put
Yeah.
yourself in that position to begin with. But there's a cause and effect there, if you will.
Yeah, and then passing yards, we had 108 passing yards to their 159. So to your point, Lane, it was 171 yards total offense for state compared to NIU's 283. And to me, state does not win this game without the turnovers, right? That was a difference in the game. And that's a credit to the defense forcing those turnovers, right? I have a note here. I'm using the score app, the score.com. It looks like there were 6 turnover potential opportunities where they fumbled the ball 4 times and lost 2 of those fumbles, and then they threw 2 interceptions. So we were forcing a lot of turnovers, and that was real. I mean, that hasn't been there all season. So, and this is a team. NIU went up and beat Notre Dame on the road at Notre Dame. So it's just not. I feel like maybe this could be a good litmus test of. Or I guess a decent team, right? And NIU is not like NIU is not a bad team, right? Bad teams don't go on the road and beat Notre Dame, right? So I just don't. I think state can be better. Like I think that's why I was worried about us. Like the sky is falling the first few weeks of football, and maybe we're not. Are we a top 12 team? I don't think so. But are we like is an 8-9 win season still possible? Yes. Is a 10-win season possible? Yes. I just think we were here last season. We need to pump the brakes and let's just see what the coaching staff can do, what the players can do. So just give it time. But I thought this performance for the defense was a positive. Defense wins championships, concept. We'll see what happens. But they just got to all come together.
Yeah.
Well, hold on real quick because Marie's comment about I assume y'all get to how bad the offense was. We'll talk. We'll get there for sure, but we definitely want to talk a little bit about the defense specifically right now. But the one thing which I'll add though is yes, making as much as 10-2 is 100% on the table. 6-6 as well on the table too, because some of these games that we thought were going to be a little bit easier, we found out Syracuse not bad, California not bad, Stanford not bad, Georgia Tech. Not bad.
So, yeah,
undefeated.
Yeah,
5-0 for the first time since '94, apparently for Duke.
Yeah, not bad. So yeah, I mean, it's there's a very high ceiling, but there's also a very scary floor as well. So Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, to that point, real quick. The only team that doesn't have a winning record right now is Wake Forest, and they're 1-3. So everyone else is at least 500 or better. In fact, Stanford's 500. But everyone else is at least 3-2. So to that point, it's not going to be as easy road as we thought. But get back to the defense real quick. This is a defense that only had generated 5 turnovers the whole season coming into NIU. They generated 4, so they almost matched the season total for turnovers. Which, if I'm not mistaken, I think last year they had 16 turnovers for the year, and I think it led the ACC. I could be wrong, but I thought we did. At least we led the league in interceptions. That I do know, but I think we led the league in total turnovers generated.
Yeah.
So
100%.
So I mean, it's good that now you have 9 and 5, which it's positive. It's a step in the right direction, and I think what do we want to talk about as far as like the lineup changes? You saw some guys getting starts that you didn't have previously, like Isaiah Shirley, got a start at
So
one of the end positions.
I think the biggest story, honestly, is one that you probably is maybe not necessarily a lineup change, but it's something that happened during the game. I think honestly is probably, in my opinion, the biggest story, and that is that Aiden White simply got kind of rolled out of the starting lineup there as the game kind of went on. To kind of make that point on PFF, he played 43 snaps when there was 74 total snaps that could have been played. So he played almost half the snaps, and this is a guy that last year was a All-American consideration, All-ACC cornerback, didn't give up a single touchdown at all last year, but he struggled. Definitely has not played up to where we expect, and definitely PFF shows that, giving him by far his worst coverage grade that he's seen in the last year and a half, and actually the second worst coverage grade for the entire defense in the Northern Illinois game. So definitely, not necessarily going to read too much into this about that, he's washed or whatever that may be, but just he's definitely going through a little bit of a rough patch right now, and he's got to get back growing into it. And so maybe this is kind of maybe a little bit that wake up call where listen, we got options like Devin Marshall, Corey Coley, we got options. So, if Aiden's not pulling his stuff, then we don't have to keep him in there. We can go to some other options who have been formidable, like a Devin Marshall, who, played a great game against Northern Illinois. So, I really do hope and I really do expect that things are going to turn around for Aiden, but definitely that really stood out to me there late, being wow, it's the fourth quarter and Aiden White's not in there right now. It's Devin Marshall and Brandon Cisse right now. So that to me was a huge storyline from that game.
Yeah. I thought another guy in the secondary that played really well, and he's continued to pretty much do that all season, is Bishop Fitzgerald. He continues to play really well. Yep, safety. Yeah. I thought, with Brandon Cisse's status in the air, I thought he came out and played really well. From what I hear, it's a cracked rib. So that's not really easy to play with if that is true.
Who is that? Aiden White?
No, Brandon Cisse.
Cisse. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had 6 tackles and 3 of them were solos. So again, if the injury is, from what I'm hearing, that's pretty significant to go out there and play that position and play it at a high level.
Yeah. We'll see. I think there's a lot of guys who have flashed potential. It's just a matter of getting them all to play together. And to your point, Greg, the schedule is not shaping up to be as a cakewalk as much as we thought it might be. So, and so it has me nervous. You made a good point, Lane. The floor could be a 6-6 season. Something like that. Maybe worse, but I think if the defense plays the way they played Saturday with a good or decent offense, State's going to be, with this schedule, a tough team to beat for these guys. They just have to. That's the thing. It's a big if. They have to figure it out, because we talked about the defense being the problem against Clemson, and now the offense is the problem against Northern Illinois. And I don't really know. To me, it's frustrating because you don't know which one is it. I don't know. I don't know if it's. We talked about this last week. I won't get on to it. Is it the guys? Is it the talent level? Is it the coaching? I don't know, but they have to figure it out now. And I'm just thankful for the win. Right? I don't want to apologize for winning.
No, absolutely not.
We'll see how that goes. But Wake Forest is going to be in Raleigh this upcoming weekend. So.
Yeah. I to your point though, this is a team that just hasn't played a complete game on all 3 phases of the game. So there is
not even close. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the crazy part, right? This team can be a lot better. They just have to go out and put it together for 4 quarters. And you've seen flashes, at all position groups. So you would think that, okay, we're due for a game, and this could be. Wake Forest is maybe the game where you get it right. They're a 1-3 team, but it is a team that we have struggled with historically.
Oh, yeah.
Granted, those pieces are not there now, like the Sam Hartmans. You have a quarterback who doesn't have a lot of game tape, so that makes it, a little bit more difficult. That it is a mesh system, and then it is a quarterback that you don't have a lot of film with. We'll see. We'll see if we can go out and put it all together and just kind of blow the brakes off of them and just kind of relax for a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, my understanding is they are not good defensively. So
their front four is pretty good.
Yes.
The rest of them not so much.
Yeah. And Carson brings up a fun point saying, fun fact, the last time we actually lost a Saturday night game in Carter Finley was 2020 Miami, where there were no fans, and last and people might say Louisville last year, but that was a Friday night game, not a Saturday night game. So, so hey, like, listen, this year, I think the biggest thing that could be a big positive is if we go undefeated at home, which is, I think, a potential for sure. And so I think that, if we could achieve that goal, that's a definite positive, having only maybe a third perfect season at home in the program's history, give or take.
Yeah.
True.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, because it happened one time,
a couple years ago, 2022.
2022. Yep. And I think it happened one time before that.
Or was it 2021?
It was the
Because we lost to Boston College because we had a 16-game winning streak, and
it was 2021. It was 2021.
Yeah,
and 2022 should have been another one too.
Correct.
Huge frustration there, but
yeah,
no, absolutely. And but yeah, also Hunter bringing up the point, we got Devin Boykin coming back the last 4 games as well. So hey, listen, a guy that gives you a lot of experience. That same thing, that if the coaching staff wants to, they got another guy right there that's ready to go. But I think it's kind of one of those things that depends how guys are playing at that point. That Bishop, Fitzgerald, and Kerry Martin, and whoever's playing back there, safety is playing great ball right there, then I don't think you're necessarily going to force them in. But again, a lot's going to change between now and then, so won't necessarily worry too much about that right now. But I do want to get to the offensive side, though, unless Greg, you have any last points.
I don't really want to, but we have to talk about them, so go for it.
Oh yeah, no, we have to.
No.
I mean, and by the way, too, defensive side, there was a couple changes in terms of from the rotation, but listen, it's great stuff. DK Kaufman, you're the man, you're the dude. And by the way, too, because another thing to point out too is that honestly, like, even though yes, the offense scored 10 points, scored 17 points. That I really only give him credit for scoring 10 points, because let's be real, that one of the Kevin Concepcion touchdown, the defense basically got it to the 1 yard line, and it was they were almost there to score that second touchdown for sure. So
that was a long drive. You shut your mouth.
That's right.
Well orchestrated 1 yard drive.
Exactly. Well orchestrated, exactly. They practice those in practice, all right, guys, we got to practice our 1 yard drives today, y'all. But offensively, it was very, very exciting. Like that first drive, I'm telling you, I got so excited. I was like, bro, that was gorgeous. We went for on 4th and 1, which, by the way, too, but that fake punt, let's be real. There was nothing secret about it. If anybody who paid attention just even for a second on how our punts team is usually set up, it was only Sean Brown in the backfield, and we had our 2 blockers right at the line of scrimmage. It was obvious as day that we were faking it.
Yeah, you didn't have your
2 or 3 blockers.
Yeah, what are those guys called? Yeah, they have a name. I can't even think about it.
I can't either. But I used to be around that stuff, but I can't even think about that right now. But anyway, so yeah, it was obvious today. But hey, listen, great job. I love the aggressiveness. Just take advantage of it. It's 1 yard. Go get it. And again, love the CJ Bailey designed run. So it was great. But then basically ever since then, it was just nothing really there. Loved seeing Noah Rogers getting involved, as well. And just love that first drive. But then ever since then, it was just disgustingness from there on out.
But in fairness, we averaged the same amount of yards per pass play as the NIU did. They just had more attempts.
Sure, but also too,
I'm trying to find silver linings.
I get you. No, yeah, hey, good for you, man. You're the man.
I feel like that was sarcasm, but okay.
but the other positive though, which I'll take from it though, Greg, is I'm telling you right now, like I really am excited about the future of Kendrick Raphael. Like I'm very sold on this guy is going to be a great player for us next season, presumably when he kind of is a part of the equation in the backfield next season. Now the big question right now is what's going on with Hollywood Smothers, which to be honest, I mean, 100% honest right now, don't really know what's going on with that right now, but
so if I apparently, and I didn't hear it, but all the chatter was that he was injured and he was on the sideline and that there's no drama with this.
Yeah. All right, good. Well, especially too, because I mean, it's not like we haven't used him. Like we've used him a good bit. So, I mean, it couldn't be, I mean, a frustration about, I mean, only frustration I could really think of is that maybe he was frustrated about being used like in garbage time against Clemson or something like that. But I'm like, I couldn't think of a reason why he'd be so upset. You know, but anyway.
And I hate that we even have to kind of talk about it, but it's along the same lines as Noah, all the
very much so
bogus information that was floating around last week on social media, which is what I absolutely hate. But it just doesn't make sense for these guys to do this mid-season because they've already burned their red shirts. Right. So you would be sitting for the sake of sitting and not getting injured just to leave a team. Not to say that that's not feasible or possible, but it just doesn't make sense that one, you show your next potential suitor that you quit on a team mid-season. So what's prevent you from doing that again? And then two, you would probably want more tape out there to show off potential suitors to get pulled in by the transfer portal. So just my 2 cents.
Yeah. I thought the whole Noah Rogers thing was kind of bogus. I don't know if it's much substance there or not. And then the whole Hollywood Smothers, I'm like, the guy talked about how, you know, at least maybe I can't remember if it was insider stuff or what, but how it was a great situation for him to come to state, be close to family again. So I'm like, I don't know why he would be just bailing this quickly. I just think that's probably people throwing it out as rumors and then people taking it as like, oh, well, he's leaving or whatever. So, yeah,
people look for fire where there's no smoke. And absolutely. I think that's just, you know, people trying to put it out there, get their name put on social media, feel like they got a scoop or just silliness like that. And then once it happens, it catches like wildfire, and then you see it just posted and plastered everywhere. And then you got to go do damage control. It's just silly, folks. It's silly. Like just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and again, I mean, like, listen, I think kind of one of the maybe reasons for it too is the fact that, I mean, it's been a storyline that we have not really used Noah Rogers that much so far this season. You know, it's definitely been the KC Concepcion show so far. But listen, it's just kind of one of those things where, again, offensively, unfortunately, we're still trying to figure ourselves out, and it's frustrating to say the least. Because again, I mean, going into the season, we really expected that the offense was going to be the side of the ball that we were going to kind of, you know, piggyback off of, and then kind of let the defense, you know, do enough to help us win games. So right now, I mean, that NIU game was straight up Liberty 2020 all over again, where it was like the offense was just terrible, but the defense did more than enough to what it took to win the football game. And the same thing here. It was just like, you know, the offense didn't kill you, but they didn't really help you though, really either. So
and I think that's okay, right? Like you don't want to see a freshman quarterback be the reason you lose a game. You know, he doesn't have to be the reason you win a game, but you don't want to see him lose the game and go out and make silly mistakes and turn the ball over all over the yard. And it was just it was good enough. And honestly, this year, you know, considering last year, you good, Macon?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just
okay.
Make it was like watch me move my finger.
I think after last year, when you see the team as limited as they were from an offensive skill set, still win 9 games, I think you should be more optimistic, even with CJ Bailey as your quarterback, not having the complement of the full playbook. Still feel confident that this team can still win 9 games.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, and here's my thing too, is I think that what NC State fans are dying for, and myself too, is just like we were saying earlier, like clicking in all 3 phases. Like, you know, like just because it seems like throughout Dorn's tenure, it's been either the offense has been really good, defense has been really bad, or the defense has been really good and the offense is really bad. And it's like this year really set up to be that year where we finally kicked through that door a little bit, and we have a really great offense with a lot of talent, and then we have that defense that's led by one of the greatest defensive coordinators in the country, Tony Gibson, and so. It's just not, unfortunately, led to that so far. Now, the interesting thing, which I wanted to let us know in the chat what y'all think, but Dorn made it very clear today in his press conference that whenever Grayson McCall does come back, that basically make it sound like that he's going to be back starting again.
And I don't mind that. What do you think?
You don't mind it, right?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like to me. Like there hasn't been enough in a couple of games where I've really thought Bailey is so much better than McCall, right? I thought there's been really good moments for him,
Sure.
but like if the staff wants to go back to McCall and use the senior leadership there that he has, I'm okay with that. But I also understand about the benefit of going with Bailey because he is if there's not much of a difference, take the young guy and let him develop. I mean, I get that too. So it's not going to bother me either way. I just don't want to keep going back and forth. That's the thing for me. Like pick a guy and stay with them. Be convicted about it. And so,
yeah. I mean, one thing I'll say about it is, listen, like whatever makes I think a little bit too is a little bit of listen to the locker room a little bit too. That like, listen, if the guys too are rallying around CJ.
Yeah,
and you got to go CJ, man.
Chemistry.
You just got to.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like and again, we're not in those locker rooms. I remind everybody, I say it all the time as a former equipment manager, I'm telling you, you have no idea what's going on in those locker rooms. You have no idea what's going on in those practices. So, we're fans and we're on the way out. I'm sorry, we're not on the way out. We're on the outside looking in. So the reason why I say that is, just I'm hoping and praying that Dorn kind of goes with it a little bit where Grayson's more obviously out for the Wake Forest game. So if we play Wake Forest and we're not looking elite, we're not looking phenomenal, but we're looking better, then, don't throw it off. Listen, don't throw that wrench in there and be like, all right, we're throwing Grayson back in when, Grayson has shown some positive signs, but it's just like it's a tough situation. It's an awful situation. I don't like it. Again, it's just like, why can't we just have that guy? Just have that guy.
Typically, unless your name is Wally Pipp. Does anybody know who Wally Pipp is?
I mean, I'm about to learn.
Yeah. So typically, if you're a starter on a team, you don't normally lose your starting position unless your name is Wally Pipp. And Wally Pipp was a New York Yankee who got injured, and some guy named Lou Gehrig took his position, and Wally Pipp never saw the field again. So, yeah. So what I'm saying is unless it's just night and day, kind of like what you were saying, Macon, starters don't lose their position just because they're injured. So if all things are pretty equal, I feel like you go back to Grayson McCall. Now, if he's coming back in a week or two, okay, so that's one thing. But if it's not like coming back to week 10, 11, and we've gone on a 6, 7, 8 game winning streak, then you're going to look at it differently. So it's also about the timing of when he would potentially be coming back.
Yeah. Well, and because it's interesting to me once again how Dorn has shared and this is Dorn's MO. It's what he does. Like Dorn, he wears cowboy boots, he drives a truck, and he doesn't share information about injuries. That's the three things that you can live and die on basically all the time. And with Grayson McCall, he has shared nothing. Now, I mean,
no, it was weird that he came right out and said he wasn't going to be available for the next week, which typically that's not the gamesmanship that we all know about Coach Dorn. So that one was a little like a one-off. But
again, it's kind of a little bit of
timetables, nothing.
Exactly. It's kicking the rock down the road right now for him. And so, but interesting stuff. So now Marie does bring up a point about Casey Concepcion's gone after this season. We screwed that up. Now you go to SEC school and the best player to ever walk through said school. Listen, it's right now he's going to be at NC State, and for this season alone. Now we've said 100 times and over again that there is no such thing as a for sure for next season. There's not a single player that's locked in for next season. It can all change. So all we can focus on right now is what we're doing here this season right now, winning games this year and doing the best we can for this year. And that's it. So that's why, Carson saying, I'd rather go 9-3 with a freshman quarterback and let him get experience to go 9-3 with a grad QB. Again, those times are gone of getting experience for freshman quarterback, because yes, that experience he's getting is also tape that he can use to go to Ole Miss, go to Arkansas, and be like, hey, listen, look at this guy, and he could be gone.
Yeah, or at the very least, leverage his current club for more NIL.
Exactly. So it's like, unfortunately, gone are those days of, I want to start building this guy up. Okay, well, you could be building him up for you, or you could be building him up for another school. It's just an unfortunate reality.
And I think that's the one thing you don't want to be a farm school, right? And I don't mean agriculture, like the minor leagues for other teams like the Big Ten, the SEC, those Power 2 conferences, and so you got to do a couple things here. You got to go win. You got to have a good culture, good locker room, strong NIL, strong fan base that supports the NIL.
Yep.
So again, if people want to complain, and I'm not saying anyone in the chat's complaining, and we love the chat, but
yes,
people got to pony up, and again, that still doesn't guarantee that you're going to be able to keep those players, but then that will help you bring in their replacements.
I've been talking to a few buddies of mine, trying to get them thinking about it. Like, hey guys, the conference we had a few weeks ago, people are going to say it's return on investment. You're not going to want to, but it's also a thing where you have now a chance to directly impact the product you see on the field. And I mentioned the rise to 5 that they've talked about in the campaign for NIL. It's like, I really think that the concept is they can get 5,000 people committed to NIL, and I'm saying it's probably I don't know if it's a certain number there, but I'm going to say it's at least $10 a month. People.
Yeah, I think the magic number was like $700 per person is kind of like the magic number.
$700. What do you mean?
Yeah, so the average giving, I think, if I remember correctly, listening to an IPS podcast, is like the average number is $700 per member. Now think about it. There's going to be some that give more, some that give the minimum. But when you get the aggregate,
per member per year,
yes.
Okay. But just to get the start one, to my buddies, I'm like, hey, just give if you can give something, I'm not putting any pressure. I'm just trying to educate in a way that's non-pressure, but if you're able to give, the more people do that, you multiply. It's going to make an impact. So, and my buddy even agrees. He's like, yeah, Tennessee's doing it because he noticed how Tennessee's doing that surcharge thing they're doing now with tickets, and I'm like, genius.
Especially when you have 106,000 seats at $10.
Why not? Why not do it? I wouldn't blame State. I wouldn't blame State if they did something like that, and they probably should.
I don't know. I don't know if you could get away with $10, but throw something on there. Heck,
$8.
Heck, even if you want to go out at halftime, there's $5 to the NIL bucket. If you want to get a pass out, $5. So if you come in, great. If not, there's still $5 to the NIL bucket.
Well, and speaking of too as well, first of all, I want to, for Rodney saying, have people forgot about Corin Robinson, aka talking about Marie's comment about the best to walk through set school. Yeah, I mean, and she corrects us saying, yeah, Corin Robinson didn't play under Dorn, so I think she was saying the best player to walk through set program under Dorn, which I would still say that's Bradley Chubb a little bit, but does Casey have the upside? Sure, but unfortunately, the offensive environment right now doesn't really help his.
Can I ask a question real quick, just to pose it to you guys?
Next.
Go ahead. What you got? What question you got?
So someone asked me this way, and I'm curious what you guys think about it, and I have my opinion on it. I had a buddy of mine text me separately during this weekend. And he had the question that was interesting, and he said, it was just a 3-letter text, has KC regressed? And I'm curious what your thoughts are about that, because I imagine there's some people who think that because he's a fan, but he's not I would say probably an average fan in some of these areas. So what do you think about that? I'll say my opinion for last, but Layton, what do you think?
Well, even better too, I would actually love to hear, if it's okay, I'd love to hand over to Greg, but the one thing I do want to do is let us know in the chat, what do you think? Do you think KC has regressed this year compared to last year? But I mean, generally my thought is no. I would just say the offense has changed a lot now, because the other thing which I'll point out as well is it really took until game 6 of last year for KC to really start finally going, because we kind of started to figure out how we wanted the offense to work for the rest of the season, aka go through Kevin Concepcion last year. So my hope is that heading into now game 6, that we will also start to figure out, okay, we need to use KC, but we also need to get Noah Rogers and Joe Lee, specifically those two guys, involved more, and we need to be more efficient running the ball. That's in my opinion, that's what needs to happen, because we also need to get the ball downfield more as well. But Greg, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was actually getting ready to say what Andy was going to say. The little 3-yard plus minus wiggle screen, pop screen, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
that's not working. Your KC is really effective in open space. There's a reason why they put him back at punt return every now and then. You notice when early in the game, you'll see KC back there returning punts. Later in the game, you'll see Jalen Coit, when they just want to make sure that they have a hand secure, punt return, that they're not looking for yardage. And so I thought, when you got Concepcion out in space, especially in that Clemson game last year where he was just all over the place. He was, doing, dig routes. He was doing, he was running every darn route tree in that. He was running, post. He was doing everything. I think that's when you, when he's at his best, when he's most effective. But I also think that, to your point, Leighton, if you're getting Joe Lee and you're getting Rodgers open and getting them the ball at times, then defenders have to now be more cognizant and play Concepcion straight up instead of, scheming for him. And I think that's the thing that you see these teams doing, knowing that he is your number one guy, that they are really focusing their attention on him to shut him down.
Yep, 100%. So
my opinion is I think he is being a product right now of the coaches and the play calling, and I don't think it's I don't think it's a him thing personally. And I know you talked about guys are going to hone in, teams are going to hone in on him and all that. He was like the only offensive weapon we had last year, so they were honing in on him last year. I think what's happening is like. How many yards do you think KC had this game? Don't look. How many yards do you think he had against NIU?
I know the answer. Go ahead, Greg.
I know the answer too.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share it then.
Yeah.
But
4 yards, right?
He had 4 yards.
Well, yeah, depending on
4 catches for 4 yards. That's crazy.
Eight targets. So he had 4 catches on 8 targets for a total of 4 yards. So he averaged 1 yard per play. And I know, like, that was a thing like a few weeks ago or last week at Clemson. I think he had something like 8 catches for 20-some yards. So his average.
That was Louisiana Tech. He had 8 for 25.
Tech. Okay, something like that. They're calling plays for him at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. If you think about it, last season, he was all over the field.
Yeah.
And maybe he's not. I can think about the Western Carolina game, seeing him catch that touchdown play, up in the middle of the field, 10, 15 yards out. I don't know if they just stopped doing that, because honestly, nothing's come to my mind. Maybe they have. I should be fair to the coaches, but it's not as obvious to me this season that they're making plays for him in the middle of the field and that intermediate level. And I don't see that. And that's where to your point, Greg, he is a slot guy who's great in space. What you're asking him to be is like
a running back.
Yeah, essentially like a pseudo running back. And it's just not. He did those things, but I don't know. Maybe if the blocking was better. I don't know if it's a blocking thing, but he needs, like, if all he's really being asked to do, or the majority is being asked to do, is around the line of scrimmage, I don't think that's using him appropriately, personally.
Right.
Because his talent level is still there. It's just what they're asking him to do. So
I think the last part too is what I was saying is you said it too, Macon, is they're throwing so much around the line of scrimmage, and they're saying, KC, go make a play, go juke the guy out of their shoes, and then get to that next level. And they're getting guys that are
making it harder on him.
Yeah, but then the defense is making tackles. So again, get him out in space, get him to get a step or two on someone, and then let him make, because he was so good last year with cutbacks in the middle of the field, and he would, he was. I remember.
Look at the Western Carolina game this year. I mean, he had some plays in the intermediate. He had 3 touchdowns. So
Yeah.
So I will add though,
you need to get him at every level.
I agree. He's so good. He needs touches everywhere. I will say that to his point where I don't think he's regressed either is he has 5 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah.
And we're a third of the way through. He had 10 in total last season. So he's already ahead of his he's on pace for a better record for touchdowns this season. So
but then again, but then it goes also like touchdowns are great, right? But he had a 1 yard. I think he's had like 2 or 3 touchdowns that were for like 2 or 3 yards. Yeah, exactly. And I get it. When you get down in that range, you're going to have shallow routes because that's just what the field, the position on the field dictates. But I just think that he's, and it was in the comments here, and if you saw the video of the touchdown, he just didn't look excited to be in the end zone. Like it didn't feel that he was like, and I don't know, maybe he was just acting like I've been there, done this. I've gotten touchdowns. I don't need to lose my mind and do backflips and all of that choreographed stuff. But it also just like he didn't hug it up, and it just was like, yeah, I did it. And I don't know, maybe people see and read that differently, kind of like what I was talking about earlier with the whole Noah Rogers thing. I'm not so sure there's smoke there.
Yeah, and I will say to kind of add, you mentioned Noah Rogers again. One thing that's different this season too that wasn't last season. Now you have more weapons there, so he's not getting the ball, 60 times in a game anymore. So he's getting whatever it is, 40, 50 times. He's getting the ball, less. I'm exaggerating, right, with that number, but it's just like he's not. It felt like every drive we had, he got 2/3 of the touches last season, and now it's like, okay, he's getting a quarter of the touches, and if that, a fifth of the touches. So it's just different now. And
you felt like you had to force the ball to him more last year because of the lack of offensive skill set positions or skill receivers that you had, or skill position guys you had.
Right.
Whereas this year you've got the Joe Lees. Here's one name, Wesley Grimes. Like
underrated.
We're not getting him the ball at all. Like none.
I personally think our offense is not utilizing our talent the right way. Personally, and I know I can do it.
It feels that way.
It's just that's just a me personally thing. Wesley Grimes should be on the field more. Joe Lee should be getting more touches. And personally, the way I'm feeling about it. I know you want to run the ball. I really feel like we should be throwing the ball more this season. For whatever reason, I feel like that because Rodgers, Joe Lee, Wesley Grimes has looked really good when he's given opportunities, and you have KC.
Yeah.
And I just had 4 guys right there.
Trey Collins.
Yeah, and I don't think Waters has looked great. The only guy I really personally feel like has looked to me like a difference maker when running the ball is Smothers. Personally, although Raphael, you see the moments. So I don't know. I like the KC thing. We're not taking a lot of deep shots.
But here's the other thing. There's 2 points to this too, real quick, and then we probably can move on. Yeah. All right. Number one, you have a freshman quarterback. All right. So you're going to be more careful pushing the ball downfield a little bit. I don't think you're going to let him be the gunslinger that he could potentially be. And number 2, Dave Doran has a historical philosophy, if you will, is when you get a lead, he's going to run the ball. He's not going to run the score up on you. He's going to shorten the game, put it on his defense to go make plays. So now you add, if you get a lead and then you have the freshman quarterback on top of that, he's just not. I just feel he's not going to push the ball down the field. He's not going to give the other team an opportunity to get back in these games. And he's okay winning a game. He's okay not. Here's the other thing we haven't even talked about. We're 0-5 in the spread this year. He could give a damn about the spread. He's okay winning ugly, winning by 1 point, 3 points, 7 points. Like, when was the last time you really remember a blowout? I mean, like, just off the top of your head. It takes a minute. It takes a minute to think about it.
I don't even
probably Marshall last year. I feel like Marshall.
Maybe. We crushed Texas Tech, didn't we? We crushed Texas Tech, I thought. Like 48-14.
Well, yeah, Marshall was nerve-wracking last year.
Was it?
That was a back and
Texas
forth.
Tech was
Yeah,
a pretty big win. I remember that one being pretty big, and that was a decent opponent.
But my point is like you
It's
can't
not
just
really
name them.
RMO.
You just
Yeah,
can't
no.
name them. Like,
It
look
was,
at Virginia
there hasn't
Tech
been one
last
this
year.
season. Hasn't been one this season.
Well, look at Virginia
Yeah.
Tech last year was a classic example. We got up good lead on them, and then just kind of had to hold on at the end.
UNC last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, nope, absolutely. So
That was probably the closest thing. He will run the score up on UNC. That's about the only team he will put his. It feels like that's the
Which
only team
I
he will-
don't get. Which I don't get. Do it to everybody, right? I mean, but who cares?
well,
It's just not his style.
It's just
Not
not.
his
I know.
That's
It's just
okay.
not.
That's
It's
okay.
not. Yeah.
Because the
Yep.
running the score up doesn't matter in college football. It does in basketball, though.
Yeah.
Well, and of
There's
course,
no net.
well, of course, people would
Correct.
argue with that now with the polling and the 12-team playoff. It's like, well, now we need to look as good as we can. And listen, and we'll talk a little bit about that maybe later on as well about, Dorn and his style matching what, we're looking for, blah, blah. So, but I do want to touch on a couple of comments about the question about KC saying, Hunter saying he's getting doubled and the play calling is horrendous.
Again, freshman quarterback.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Yeah, no, we're not. We don't
Yeah.
necessarily need to go back around with that. Just pointing out a couple comments.
Gotcha.
So quick thing within game saying I go to school at UNC Asheville, ground zero for Helene. I was evacuated out of the city by chopper. The city is destroyed. Please consider helping with the relief / pray for them. I don't want to face that ever again. The city has no power, no cell service, running water or gas. So first and foremost, y'all definitely praying for all those affected by this,
Absolutely.
horrible hurricane for sure. The videos, the pictures that we've seen has been terrible. And that was one of the big reasons why, for this week, instead of doing a giveaway based off of a Coney, based off of, getting more whatever, like we said, we do really want to do our part and help giving back. So if you wouldn't mind, please help us, consider entering into our giveaway right now. If you go to our Twitter page, the tweet is pinned to the top of our profile. But all you have to do, we're giving away two free tickets to the NC State Wake Forest game here this Saturday. All you have to do to enter is donate at least $5 to the American Red Cross GoFundMe. That's in that link for that tweet. And for every additional $5 you donate, you also get another entry. So if you donate $20, you get 4 entries. If you donate $100, you get 20 entries, etc. So that way, therefore, increasing the likelihood that you win the tickets. So please do us a big favor and to help raise money for the American Red Cross for those affected in Western North Carolina. Please consider going and entering into our giveaway. Again, go to our Twitter page, top tweet pinned to the top of our profile.
Real quick. And then whoever wins those tickets has an invite to our tailgate as well. We'd love to host you as an additional thank you for donating.
Awesome.
So
I love that. Thank you,
I will
Greg.
say, like, let me tell you, Chimney Rock is gone, right? It's terrible. My dad was talking about, not to mention like the bridges, like I-40 and all that, but like all the little individual mountain houses that have like their own little bridges to get to where their house from the road, like they probably can't go anywhere either. And I saw, this is not political, I'm just saying, I saw Trump and Elon Musk said he was maybe going to help with Starlink out there in the mountains area, so people at least can have some level of connectivity. I don't know what's going to happen, but I saw that was mentioned. It's terrible. I hope everybody is safe. And it's just been terrible for everybody out there.
Yeah. And specifically want to give a huge shout out to Davin Van and his family, Rylan Van and the Van family. It was announced today that tomorrow, October 1st, and Wednesday, October 2nd, from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you have water, baby formula, baby wipes, hygiene products, toothpaste, diapers, shampoo, flashlights, batteries, blankets,
like non-perishable food kind of things.
Non-perishable food, like anything, in terms of with disaster relief. You can take it to the indoor practice facility, and they are there to accept it, and they will be taking it because their mom owns a moving company, and so they're going to take it out west to help.
They're actually taking it to the Durham mission, Durham rescue mission, and then they're going to take it from there. So they're kind of just like a middleman. But also a couple of things. If you're on Twitter, there's several people out there from Wolfpack Nation doing some stuff as well. If you know Wolfpack Karaoke, she's freaking awesome. Amanda's like top notch, one of the best fans out there. Also, Savannah 2J, if anyone knows her, Her family is also doing a drive. Coach 2J and his wife are collecting items as well. So if you're not in the Raleigh area but still would like to help, definitely reach out to those individuals. There's also a bunch of other folks. Those are just a couple that came to mind that I saw. So there's people out there doing the work. So if you have the means, throw a couple dollars that way.
Yeah, perfect. I love it. Well, and again, y'all, so, obviously still want to, touch base. First of all, again, make sure to go into our giveaway to get 2 tickets to Wake Forest game and also an invite to Greg's tailgate as well. So again, and let's raise some money for this amazing cause for sure and help those in need.
And actually, I'm going to add one more thing. Anyone that's donated more than $20 to this will also get an invite to my tailgate this weekend as well. So, so anyone that's donated $20 or more, I'll host you at our tailgate as a thank you for donating to the American Red Cross.
Perfect. We'll definitely need to tweet that out, Greg, for sure. Yeah. Try and get some more people in, man, to get that.
We need to
do that. Want to hang out with Greg?
No.
Who doesn't want to hang out with Greg?
No. We want to make a difference, and I think
Amen.
Our university is always about pulling together for others. So this is definitely the time to help other North Carolinians.
Well, specifically, I mean, all those affected, not only just UNC Asheville, but even App State as well. That there's definitely have been some rising tension between NC State and App State over the last, year or so with the sayings that, we're scared to go face some blah, blah, blah. But listen, like all that immediately gets put aside when something like this happens, so.
But speaking of, did you see the Liberty quarterback comment thing?
Trash. I don't even want to acknowledge that.
Yeah. Terrible.
Terrible take. Yeah. And then there was another former UNC student, now journalist, won't name their name.
Yep.
Trash.
Yep. Trash. So 100% agree. But again, so praying for all those, for the entire App State family. There's actually even a relief fund that App State put together as well to try and raise some money as well to help students and faculty, and people in the Boone area that have been affected by this hurricane as well. So again, y'all, just please help us, to make a difference. Just like Greg said, again, you got a giveaway, Savannah 2J, Davin Van. There's so many ways to get involved. Please go and help us.
If you know Chuck Coates actually works for the Durham Rescue Mission. So he can get you pointed in the right direction too. So there's tons of people affiliated, both officially and unofficially, with the school that are doing a lot of great things.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so see, in game, by the way, helping us with the blowout, saying Charleston Southern 2022 was like 50 something to like 6. I think it was like 57.
We beat ECU pretty bad a few years ago.
We did beat. That's true. 21.
Mm-hmm.
21. That was the makeup game.
Yep, absolutely.
That was the Garrett Bradbury touchdown game, actually.
Yeah, that's a good point. But again, they're few and far between. I mean, that's 3-4 years ago.
Well, and that also, so I want to read this comment and I want to make one point about the ECU game. But Julian saying, Dave is right. We found a way to beat a good team. Great team win. No turnover. Showed a lot of character on defense, much better than before. I mean, again, it's kind of one of those things where, like, I think with NIU, you kind of hang your hat on that Notre Dame game. But you also say, well, but they also lost to Buffalo. Who Buffalo just lost to UConn like 47-3. So definitely NIU is not looking too great with that loss right now. But again, let's just see how the rest of the season goes. And if they're 10-2 at the end of the season, it's like, okay, that's a pretty darn good win. So, so again, to be determined on that. But the ECU game, I want to make a point that I still think that, because again, Doran, he's a guy that doesn't forget anything, and I truly do think, even still to this day, that blowout was to get back at how Coach Mo handled beating NC State in 2016, where Coach Mo was, doing all the, X and, to the stands and pumping his chest, blah, 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 and, really hyping it up. And so I think that Doran was like, yeah, okay, well, ain't gonna take it easy on you here.
He wasn't even the coach. He's like, I still don't care. I'm still
don't care. I'm gonna make a point.
That was Coach Houston's first year.
That was because remember they fired Coach Mo like 3 days before we played them.
You're right.
Yeah, that's right.
You're right.
So
Coach
literally ECU did not want to face the wrath that was going to come if Coach Mo was the head coach for that game.
That's right.
So anyway,
because we played him the last game and then we played him the first game. And that's
Exactly.
that's what it was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. So, real quick, I do want to give a huge shout out as well to a sport that obviously we've started to take a lot of stock
Interest in.
into
Yeah.
with wait, what?
I said interest, but yeah, stock.
Interest, yeah, interest in, which is NC State softball, and a lot of it has to do really with, I mean, just the fact that the more we have seen on the inside, but also too as well, just from the outside looking in as well, like how skilled and how great Coach Leftwich is as a coach. I mean, just the fact that, I mean, just like we said in the tweet, the fact that she had on campus the number 5, the number 13, and the number 50 overall recruit in the country for the class of 2026 on campus, like that's amazing within itself. But then on top of it,
Commit.
getting a commit from the number 5 overall recruit in the country for the class 2026 and Maddie Smith. I mean, that's just crazy. And again, I mean, you may say, like, why would she come to state? And the points which I'll kind of make here, I'll say here first and foremost is I think that there was a couple of huge movements last year with the win at Clemson, but also to beating South Carolina as well, having a couple of top 25 wins was like okay, interesting. That's nice. But also too, on top of it as well with Lindsay Leftwich with her experience developing specifically catchers when she was at LSU as the associate head coach. The fact that Maddie Smith, who was one of the top 2 or 3 catchers in the country, seeing, hey, listen, I come to NC State and be a part of a movement, bringing NC State softball program to a place it's never been before, which is at that elite level. And then also too, as well, learn from one of the great, catcher coaches, specific coaches in the country. And I mean, again, and a great person overall, and Coach Leftwich as well. I mean, just, that everything we've been hearing from the inside, talking to, softball players and recruits and you name it, has been nothing but shining stars for Coach Leftwich. No issues whatsoever in terms of controlling the locker room. Like, player morale has been nothing but absolute tip-top shape for sure. And so, and especially right now with how stacked the ACC has become, with Virginia Tech, with Duke, with UNC, with Florida State, you name it. Listen, I mean, it's a sport that I think that, once we start to get some of these facility upgrades it desperately needs, once we get, some of this talent level that we can easily get, that sky's the limit for the softball program, y'all. I'm telling y'all this right now. If you're not buying into NC State softball already, do it right now. I'm telling you, and you're going to be left, and you're going to be wishing that you had sooner. That's all I'm saying. But Greg, any comments here on that as well?
No, I just got to meet Coach Leftwich for the first time on Saturday. Just spent about 2 minutes with her and promptly thanked her for calling me out on Twitter last year after I announced all of my travels. And so I still owe her one game, but I plan on making it more than one game. So I'm excited to see what this what this program can do with Coach Leftwich in her second year. Already made some strides last year by getting more wins, more ACC wins than the previous year, and that was with her first year. So yeah, I think she's just going to continue to build on that and start getting the folks that she's looking for to build that program to where she wants it to be, and then take off from there.
Yep. So, I mean, Hunter's saying, I'm very excited about softball, love that. But also, too, Carson saying, where does softball success come from? From coaching and building culture. And I mean, but also, too, as well, I mean, with the fact that, I mean, how young Coach Leftwich is as well, where, I mean, this is still at such the early point of her career. And I mean, she knows what it takes to get to Oklahoma City. She knows what it takes to be, a conference champion. She knows what it takes. She knows what to look for. And she's routinely known across the entire softball, industry, if you want to call it that, as being one of the top recruiters in the country. And you're seeing that already by, even with not having even close to the best facilities in the ACC, much less the country, even with not having, the most success in the country in terms of, NCAA tournament appearances, championships, whatever it may be, that she's still able to get all these top 50 recruits on campus, y'all. Like that's just screaming. Like imagine if she got, a bigger batting cage, training facility. Imagine if she got, new scoreboard, for the softball field. Imagine, if she got an upgraded locker room. Imagine what she could do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one thing real quick that I noticed from her in just the small interaction is she's very outgoing. She's very charismatic, and you can just feel that she connects with people. Like I felt like I knew her going into that conversation. She's very good on social media. She takes time out with fans. She's who you want to be the representative and the CEO of your program.
Well, I remember too when we interviewed her, she said one of the reasons you mentioned why she's here, because she mentioned how Boo Corrigan, when she interviewed with her, he's like one of the only ADs who told her, "I want you to be you," and not to be a certain way, kind of thing, and that made an impression on her. So it sounds like the way she's recruiting and coaching, the impression she's leaving on it, she's very much the kind of person want her to be just who she is. So,
yeah. Well, and one thing which I'll say real quick, Greg, is I truly do believe that that the thing I love about it is it's not like this is hype just because it's a new hire. It's not like the oh man, new hire, like I'm gonna jump on this like the fresh blood thing. Like, no, this is really like who she is, based off who she is, the program she's building, and what could be with this program as well. Go ahead, Greg.
No, I just want you to publicly acknowledge, Leighton, how cool of what I did Saturday in the stands, and that it drew the reaction that it did. So I will let you finish the story.
Yeah. So it was funny. So basically we were made aware by Coach Leftwich that Maddie had committed, but that it was not publicly known yet. And so but Greg, who had never met Coach Leftwich up to that point, I ran into him and he was like, "Hey Leighton, I want to meet Coach Leftwich." And so what we did was, my family, we have seats in the top row of section 6, and section 6 is typically where like softball, gymnastics, women's basketball, you name it. Like that's typically, if it's like a recruiting thing or whatever, maybe that's typically where you can find them. Specifically gymnastics and softball and those, more of the non-revenue side of the sports. And so Coach Leftwich was there with a bunch of the recruits, including Maddie Smith and her parents. And so at that point, Coach Leftwich was in the middle of the section talking to Maddie, which I'm telling you right now, I mean, like literally Coach Leftwich talked to Maddie for, I kid you not, at least 30 minutes, like just nonstop. Like they were just talking during the game. And so we were like waiting to see if like Coach Leftwich would come back over, so that way I could introduce Greg to her. And Greg was like, "Hey Leighton, what would you say if I chant out let's go Maddie, right now?" And I was like, I don't know, because like it just made me nervous because there was other recruits there as well, so I didn't want to necessarily make it like seem like we were hyping up one and not the others. But but being that also too that she had just committed, I was like, okay, it makes sense, like that's cool. But I'm also like sitting here like, I don't know, I just like, I don't know if I could do that. So if you do that, Greg, I'm just gonna face the opposite direction if that's okay. just because I don't know how this is gonna get taken. I'm a little bit nervous. But listen, Greg has never steered me wrong. He's never steered me wrong. So hey, listen, he had a conviction about it, and so he went with it. And Greg, I'll let you take the story because again, I didn't watch their reactions, but you can finish the story.
So I did, "Let's go Maddie," did that a couple of times, and then like other people kind of joined in, and then her parents and Maddie just kind of looked at me, were like, "Who is this? Like, what is going on right now?" And then they just thought it was the coolest thing that we did that in honor of her committing, and so it turned out for the good. And I'm kind of with you, Leighton. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's do it. It's we're having a good time at the football game. Let's give her due. So yeah, Amen. It was fun. And the parents came up and kind of gave me a high five afterwards as they were walking out to the concourse, and yeah, it worked out. Awesome. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, but
Ben. Yes, absolutely. But Benjamin bringing up a great point. You could say the same thing about the men's soccer coach as well. Yeah. No, I mean,
1000%.
Listen, I mean, there's again, like I don't know if you've heard me say this before. I know I've never said this before, y'all, but I'll say it today. Things are phenomenal right now throughout NC State athletics. And
first I heard you say that.
Yeah,
mind blowing. Like up until this point, all we've ever said is support football and men's basketball and a little bit of women's basketball, but that's it. But now I'm turning my tone. I'm saying, you know what? Also, too, let's focus on soft. No, again, if anybody knows Tuffy Talk, if anybody's listened to us for a second, we support all things in-state, no matter what. But right now is the easiest in the history of in-state athletics to ever say, go support all of in-state athletics right now. I'm telling you all this right now. Again, men's soccer, so excited by what Coach Mark Hubbard is bringing to this program. Softball, get involved. Wrestling, I'm telling you all this right now. Wrestling, I really am expecting a step forward. The floor has been for a long time ACC championship, top 10 in the country. Like that's just been like the expectation for the last 8 years or so for Pat Popolicio program. But I'm telling you all this right now, from with Zach Esposito as a new associate head coach, with the guys that we have with Isaac Trumbull, world champion, competing for NC State this year. I'm telling you, NC State wrestling is gonna shock the world a little bit here this year. So I'm looking forward to that. So get involved, y'all, for sure. And we get women's basketball. Again, go check out our interviews with Debbie Antonelli. Like seriously, like if you haven't checked out our episodes yet, with our interview with Debbie Antonelli, go check them out, where we talk about in-state women's basketball. What is true ceiling for that team? But also too as well about an amazing new program coming in state as well, in the Elevate program, which helps those with disabilities, those students with disabilities that want to be able to come to NC State and get an education, just like the Clemson Life program. And so she explains a little bit about that as well, and her involvement in making that a reality. And again, just a huge hats off to Debbie Antonelli and all the ways that she's given back to NC State through the KAL, foundation, through the Elevate program, etc. Go check those episodes out. You will love them, say the least. So, Greg, any final comments here before we wrap this up?
No, I saw it in the chat earlier. Volleyball 2-0 last weekend. Wins over Virginia Tech and Virginia. I think they won 3-1 and 3-0.
Yes,
and then. Men's soccer with a tough one on Friday night. Looked like we had the tying goal, and it was disallowed on an offsides. And from what I understand, the referee was pretty bad all night. So, but we'll look at getting those programs back on the winning track this week, or that program, excuse me.
Yep. And then lastly, though, too, y'all, I do got to give a huge shout out to Oconee Gold, our amazing sponsor once again, y'all. Is yesterday, Sunday night, my wife and I made some ribs, and we specifically, because my wife hasn't tried the spicy sauce yet, so what we did was we took the rack, we split it in half, and we did the spicy on one side, and then we actually did the vinegar based side, because my wife loves more of the vinegar based barbecue sauce on the other side, and it was some good eating, y'all. So again, go check out our amazing sponsor, Coney Gold, for all of your sauces, barbecue sauces, and rubs. Use that code Tuffy Talk to get 15% off your entire order, y'all. So again, click the link down in the description below. Go check out Coney Gold, small batch barbecue sauce and rubs, and get 15% off your entire order by using the coupon code Tuffy Talk, y'all. And it really goes help support us along the way and supporting our amazing sponsor as well. And that would be a huge, huge favor for us as well, along with as well supporting with the giveaway efforts as well to raise money for the Hurricane Helen support as well. So anyway, making any final comments from you, Bud, before we wrap it up?
No, man, I'm just maybe a couple things. One, go get this one against Wake Forest, make it 4-2 on the record. But then two, we even talked about this at all tonight, and maybe I can't remember we talked about it last week, but basketball is coming, and I'm really excited. It's like schedules released. They've had their first practices.
It's about that
I'm excited about it. They got the new center commit, power forward commit a week or so ago.
Yep.
I'm excited about that, and I know the opening ceremony where they released the ACC championship banner and the Final Four banner. It's going to be on the first game of the season, November 4th, and so that's a big deal for NC State. So I think every state fan should sell out the Lenovo Center, and I'm going to try to be there for that. I think how often can you see them lower an ACC championship and a Final Four banner? So I think the team deserves that. Program deserves that.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Hey, and shout out to Carson, writing for The Technician. Go read his stuff. He's had a couple good articles out there. There's some really good folks on The Technician this year, so go support them and what they're doing out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Wolfpack Nation. So with that being said, we appreciate y'all so much. Again, we love you guys. Y'all are the best. Again, make sure to go support our amazing sponsor, Coney Gold. Use Tuffy Talk, get 15% off your entire order. Go enter into our giveaway for 2 free tickets to the Wake Forest game. Plus, again, if you donate over $20 towards the Hurricane Relief Fund, you also get an invite to come and be hosted by Greg Leggett, his tailgate here this weekend as well. And again, let's raise some money. Go check out even Davin Vans, get the fundraiser as well. And let's get involved and make a difference and show why in-state fans are the best in the country. And but again, thank you all so much again for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And leave a like on this video as well. We greatly appreciate that. And leave a 5-star review if you listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your podcast as well. I appreciate y'all again. We love you guys. Let's go beat Wake Forest and let's get this thing done. Go Pack, y'all.